Hi, Dr. Lisa. My name is Trang Nguyen, and I'm currently a student in the Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology program at Yorkville University. Today, I'm presenting my assignment 1, which focus on agenda setting in cognitive behavioral therapies. This presentation explores the 7 core components of agenda setting compared to video example reflects on my reference counseling style and discusses some common challenges that new counselor may face. The second slide is the this is the video. Here's where I can include a link to the video version of this presentation. Please feel free to view the recording at your convenience. So now, let's begin with the key element of agenda setting. In slide 3, I want to talk about 7 components of agenda setting. Agenda setting is in cognitive behavioral therapy is a foundational skill that facilitates structure, client engagement, and goal directedness within each section. According to Kennelly Kurt and West Bruce 2017 and Beck 2020, it provides a framework that allows both therapist and client to collaboratively decide how time will be used. The 7 components of agenda setting highlight not only a structurist approach, but also the importance of therapeutic alliance, client autonomies, and ongoing progress monitoring. First, I'm talking about collaborative agenda setting. This step is rooted in the principle of mutual respect and collaboration. It set the tone for the session by inviting the client to participate in choosing what issue to focus on. Therapists might ask to client, what would you like to make sure we cover today? They empower the client. This empower the client, make them feel valued, and help them increase motivation for change. According to Beck 2020, this co-creation process enhances the client's sense of ownership over therapy outcomes. And the second, I want to talk about the bridge from the previous section. Effective agenda setting builds continually by revisiting the last section topic, goals, and homework. This practice reinforces learning so the therapist attentive, attentiveness and keep the client progress in focus. For example, the therapist might say, last time we talked about trying to grounding techniques. How did that go? So this also allows the therapist to identify barrier or successes and tailor intervention accordingly. So I move to the third one is prioritizing topics. Clients often present multiple concerns, and it can be overwhelming to address them all in one section. So prioritizations ensure the most pressing issue that addresses first while still validating own concern. This step help manage expectation and allow for targeted therapeutic work. Therapists may support the client in organizing their thoughts by using scaling questions, such as on a scale from 1 to 10, how much distress there is of the cause you. So that is for prioritizing topics. So now I move to section structuring. One prioritize a set, laying out a section roadmap, reduce the ambiguity, and provide psychological safety. This is especially crucial for clients with anxiety, trauma, histories, although new to therapy. The example might be therapist say, here, how I propose we spend our time today. 10 minutes reviewing your week, 20 minutes on your anxiety at work, and 5 minutes summarizing and setting goals. Does that work for you? So this means there's this predictable format foster trust and efficiency. And number five is time allocation. Sessions are time limits, and managing that time wisely help to cover keys issues without feeling rushed or overwhelmed. Therapists model time management and reinforce structures by assigning estimated time to each topic. For instance, let for 15 minutes on your recent insomnia and 10 minutes on preparing for your upcoming job interview. So the therapist just keep revolves, revolve to client, engage to client by some question, some offer. So this also provide a natural transition and respect the therapeutic frame. Number six, we done with time allocation. So we will do summarizing the agenda. This recaps, solidify, share, understand, and ask at the final check-in before diving into the content. A summarize such as therapy will say, "Mm, so today we will check in on your journaling, then explore your conflict with your sibling, and finally we'll wrap up with some coping strategy." Does that sound right? So we have to ensure that clarify, allow the correction, and foster collaboration. So now I move to number seven, transitioning into the section. These components mark the shift from planning to action. This signal that the client is being invited into deeper work, and that's their input that shape that what comes next. A smooth transition might sound like therapist could say. Let's start with what happened with your manager last Tuesday. Can you tell me more about that moment? So the Ismin is so respect and set an emotional safe tone. So that all for the seven component of agenda setting I want to talk about. Now we move to slide 4. We will more explore about the video of Dr. Grandy video critics. Dr. Grandy agenda setting style. It characterizes it by it clarify and precision. He begins by revisiting the client homework and review a section theme. He demonstrating the textbook's example of reading section. His structured format such as like let's review homework, then explore new concern and wrap up with a plan. This reflects a strong adherence to CBT's principle. His therapist list suggestion can streamline the section and reduce decision parties for clients with executive functioning difficulty. However, this approach can sometimes limit client input. A more balanced style might involve asking um, the topics I mentioned, which feel more important to you today? Dr. Randy summarization of the agenda before transitioning into the discussion enhances transparency. His ability to manage section time and expectations showcase advanced therapeutics facing. However, new therapists might find his highly clinical, clinical tone difficult to emulate authentically. It's important to remember that while structure matters, relational flexibility and warmth are equally critical, especially when working with diverse population. Therapists must adjust based on client feedback, communication style, and cultural value. Dr. Randy's demonstration is an excellent example of structure, but therapists must personalize it to match their client needs and their own therapeutic identity. I reviewed a role-play video by Dr. Todd Grandy that demonstrates agenda setting in CBT. His approach is highly structured and directed. In step one, he engaged the client in a collaborative manner and clearly invited input. In step two, he reviewed the client homework, which helped create the bridge from the previous section. He suggests topics for discussion and helped the client prioritize. prioritize. Though the prioritization felt more therapist-led than client-driven. One strength, one strength is that he summarizes the agenda and transition smoothly into the working break the after section. However, this approach may feel formal or rigid, especially for clients who prefer more relational or flexible style. So that all for Dr. Randy. Now I move to uh, qualia counseling. The qualia counseling video provides a gender, more client-centered approach. The therapist begins by emotionally attuning to the client's current state, which aligns with trauma-informed practice. She uses reflective listening and validation, allowing space for the client to lead agenda setting. This approach is especially effective for clients with emotional sensitivity, trauma history, or those new to therapy. It models empathy and trust building. For example, asking the therapist asking, "What been on your mind lately?" Open the door for the client to take initiative in the section. However, this noticeable absence of time structuring or prioritization. This may lead to slack efficiency, especially when clients present with multiple concerns. Without time management, the section could lack resolution. This video serves as a strong reminder that emotional safety is foundational. For new counselor, the key takeaway is that agenda setting doesn't have to be rigid. It can flow naturally while still incorporating structure through the gentle nudging. So, um, The therapist can say, could it have to focus first on the conflict with your roommate before we revisit your sleep? This this way, ultimately, the quality of video encourages therapists to remain attuned, empath- empathic, and client-led, particularly in the early stage of building rapport. The second video I reviewed it is from Qualia Counseling. This demonstrates you a warm and relational approach. The therapist begins with an emotional check-in and invite the client to set an agenda. Prioritize- Prioritization is guided by the client's current emotional distress. We feel client-centered and empowering. The therapist used empathy and active listening throughout. The structure is more flexible and the transition feel natural. However, the video does not explicitly address time allocation, which could become a challenge if time runs out unexpectedly. Overall, is the style is feel more emotional, lead attuned, and inviting. So now I move to the slide 6. This one we talk about reforestation. Personally, I'm most aligned with the empathic and relational approach demonstrated by the therapist from Qualia Counseling. This approach the emphasize genuine connection, emotional attunement, and responsiveness to the client emotional world. In my view, building rapport and emotional safety is the foundational to any effective therapeutic process, especially within the early stage of therapy when clients feel seen, heard, and validated. They are more likely to disclose vulnerable information, participate in the therapeutic exercise, and commit to behavioral change from Kennelly et al. 2017. The therapist in the Qualia video show warmth, uses reflective listening, and allows the client to take emotional lead with portrait trust and collaboration. By resisting the urge to impose an agenda too early, the therapist models a client-centered approach that respects the client's pace. This is particularly beneficial when working with individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds or those with trauma histories, as they may need more time to build trust and develop the therapeutic alliance. At the same time, I recognize the strength from Dr. Grandy's more structured and directive approach. His style is provides clarity, readability, and a strong framework for the section. Structure is the core component of CBT and play a vital role in reducing ambiguity, managing time effectively, and ensuring that their therapy goals are consistently addressed. This style can be especially useful for clients who struggle with executive functioning or who feel overwhelmed by their problem, as it offers guidance and containment. As the result, I refer as counseling style is a hybrid approach. blending the relational depth of person-centered therapy with the intentional structure of CBT. For example, I could begin each section with a warm empathy check-in using open-ended question and validation based on the client input. I could then collaboratively shape the section agenda, identifying reality issue, reviewing homework if applicable, and ensuring time is allocated to both emotional processing and cognitive restructuring. This hybrid model allow me to flexible adapt to various client presentation while still adhering to the goal of CBT. It supports culturally sensitive practice, honor, honor, honor client autonomy, and foster deeper engagement. I believe this integrative style promotes both safety and therapeutic momentum, leading to more meaningful outcome over time. Personally, I prefer the empathic and relational approach used by quality counseling therapists. I believe that building rapport and emotional attunement is essential, especially in the early stage of therapies when a client feels heard, validated, and accepted. They are more likely to engage open in process, which can lead to deeper therapeutic outcome. In particular, I value how the therapist in the qualia video creates the space for the client emotion to guide the section rather than jumping straight into the structured plan. That said, I also recognize the importance of structure and focus on CBT, Dr. Randy's style with more formal provides a clear and efficient outcome of the section. This kind of structure can help clients who may feel overwhelmed or uncertain, and it provides predictability and a clear pathway to progress. So, but I believe this for this reason, I refer counseling style is a hybrid approach with blending emotional warmth and client-centered responsibilities with structured planning and goal setting. And then I believe this hybrid model support diverse client reference and foster both safety and effectiveness in therapist relationship. That my preferred style. So now I move to slide 7 for common challenges for new counselor. At the new counselor in trainings, I recognize that there are several common challenges when learning to set an agenda effectively. The challenges often arise from a lack of confidence or uncertainty in section planning, and they can impact the therapeutic alliance and section flow. Let me highlight three key challenges and corresponding strategy. At first, being too directive. New therapists may unintentionally take control of the agenda, especially when trying to demonstrate competencies. They can make clients feel disempowered. A helpful strategy is to use the Socrates, Socrates questioning with encourage client to reflect the discover their own insight. For example, the therapist, instead of suggest a topic, the therapist could ask, what feel most important for us to explore today? This one will have shift ownership back to the client. So the second thing is avoiding emotional deep in the efforts to stay on track or avoid discomfort. Some therapists may skip over emotional cues or deeper issues. However, meaningful change over require emotional engagement. Supervision can provide space or reflect on this moment, and mindfulness practice can have therapists stay present and open to the emotional material. Mindfulness also supports self-awareness, which is crucial in noticing when avoidances may be happening. And the third one is overloading the agenda. It's common to want to address everything the client bring up. However, trying to fit too much into one section can lead to superficial discussion. To avoid this, it's important to prioritize issue collaboratively and use SMART goals. SMART goal mean specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound to focus the section. For example, narrowing the focus to one main concern and identifying the realistic step in the client and tech before the next section help create a sense of progress and mastery. As a new counselor in training, I I think by being aware of these challenges and practicing these challenges strategy, practice this strategy, new counselor can build confidence and effectiveness in agenda setting. At Kennelly SL 2017 is planned, and developing this skill enhances the therapeutic process by promoting structure, engagement, and collaboration. And okay, so that thing. And in slide 8, the reference. This is Here is on a reference I use in my presentation. This include the keys CBT test by Beck and Kennelly, as well as the video demonstrations by Dr. Brandy and Qualia Counseling. These resources have greatly helped me to reflect on how to structure CBT session while maintaining compassion and flexibility. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Your presences and attention truly mean a lot to me, and I appreciate the opportunity to share what I have learned. And this experience has deepened my understanding and enthusiasm for the subjects, and I'm looking forward to growing further under your guidances. And I'm very eager to continue to learn and refining my skill in CBT and beyond as I move forward in the next chapter. Thank you so much again, and I'm so sorry with a lot of noise in the background, as my son is he got autism, and he very frustrated with something small can make him feel so sad, and very frustrated and uh, cruel himself. And I, I, I just want to say sorry for that. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa.